Okay, part two of what should probably be only two parts, because although if I was only born a couple days later, I'd be a Leo. I don't have the ego to just talk about myself for three videos, so I have to make the story short somehow. Let's see. So I'm at the Eye of the Cat, spending my entire young life there. I ended up volunteering in the brew room. That's where I really started learning my stuff. It's one of those old occult stores that still does everything themselves, still to this day. Yeah, I learned most of what I went out the door with there. And let's see. So that takes me through pretty much the 80s. Pretty much the 80s is my whole life at the Eye of the Cat, and working as a priest, doing rituals, teaching classes, most of the time. In addition to having a job, that kind of stuff. I left L.A. right after the Los Angeles riots, the first one, the Rodney King riots. I recall leading my last ritual for my parent tradition during the riots, and even though people had to traverse through riot country to get there were still several hundred people up in the Angeles National Forest. Let's see, came north, ended up in the mountains of Santa Cruz, teaching about a week later. I had my first class together in about a week, teaching witchcraft. Spent a long time going up and down the coast, the west coast mostly, teaching witchcraft everywhere I went. I even taught witchcraft at Earth First Base Camp for a while. Pretty much just everywhere I go, do this. So taught all over the mountains, and eventually, somewhere late '90s, the first witch store in Santa Cruz opened. It was called 13 Real Magic. Had potential to be a cool place. I ended up, through some weird twist of events, landing the job there. It turned out because I was the only, I was the witch that was the ringer. I was replacing another witch that had a lot of time in witchcraft, and so any rate, I stayed there for about 4 years. Was the manager. Unfortunately, that place was, as a lot of occult stores, unfortunately, it was a place for trinkets and wares that other people make. Crackerjack witchcraft, I call it. Crappy little trinkets and oils made in sweatshops in East LA, mostly. And although I wanted to make it better, tried to make it better, did everything I could. Um, Eventually, we got the boss there to let us start brewing, start making incense and oils. And first one we brewed was called the Sacred Grove. Incense, Chris, who asked for the video, you should have one of the last bags of the Sacred Grove incense for the season. We only brew it once a year. It's very specific. Ingredients come from one place up in the mountains, and a couple of the plants are kind of rare, so we harvest it very sparingly because we're witches. We don't want to hurt the land. Let's see. So at some point, we'd have one day a week that we were allowed to brew, and things were not going well at that witch store. We were told that the place was going to go under, and we did some magic, and through the magic, a large chunk of money, about 20 grand, ended up in the hands of witches who, spent quite some time even living on the street in Santa Cruz, in the forest and stuff, not the type of people to have a whole lot of money. We thought we had raised the money to save 13 Real Magic, but when we offered the money, we were dissed. And somebody said to me, they said, Birch, and actually I chose the name Birch at that witch store. That was the craft name that I chose because I saw it as I was going to be the doorway for people to start their craft journey. I recognize the importance of witch stores. These are our only temples to this day, most places. At any rate, one day somebody said to me, maybe you should just open your own store since you know what to do. And I was sitting down on a day that was supposed to be my boss's day off, and talking to my friend Puck, and said to him, I told him, I said, somebody just said to me the other day, things are not going well there. Maybe you should just go open your own witch store. And he said, yeah, that's a good idea. We should do that. And I remember like it was yesterday, the doors on the front bell rang, and it was the boss coming in on her day off with her boyfriend to back her up to fire us. Or, I'm sorry, to lay us off. That's what she said. She said she was going to lay us off because the place was going out of business. Apparently, it turned out that we had threatened her power. So we saw no problem at this point, since this woman had lied to us upon our departing, to go to the other side of town and become her competition. We did not want to be her competition. It just kind of worked out that way because she quite frankly just talked a lot of shit, started a lot of rumors, tried to start a lot of witch wars in town. Now here we are in Santa Cruz, huge, vast pagan community. I have not been to Salem. I hear theirs is bigger. I don't know how you could handle bigger. Santa Cruz, huge pagan population, lots of large groups doing lots of things, lots of bickering, of course, here and there between groups, because these people have known each other for 20, 30 years. Here we are, Sacred Grove, 10 years later, still doing this. Had to learn how to do business in addition to brewing. Originally I knew witchcraft. Did not know any of this other stuff. It's an extremely abridged telling of the tale. But I wanted to wrap the tale up, get it to here. Learned a lot of witchcraft along the way, and anybody could do it. All you got to do is spend all your time for 30 years doing one thing. Other things I'm good at, other things I suck at, but I'll be the first to tell you I'm good at this. This is. Mom once said, as I said in the thing, there was no future in it. Mom calls me for help when her friends' houses are haunted now, when somebody's got bad luck, even for matters of love. So Mom's come around, and this will be. I'm at 7 minutes and 34 seconds, so that's just going to have to be the story up till now, the brief bio of the voyage of Mr. Birch to these shores of Santa Cruz to do this that we are still doing. So come on by Sacred Grove if you haven't been here. It's summer, great time for a vacation. We're open 7 days a week. I'm here most of those. My name is Birch, and this has been the abridged story of me for my viewers that I accidentally called listeners earlier, because I also have a long history in radio. Old habits die hard, but that is another story. That's a me, y'all.